Now, this May bank holiday weekend, the village of Corofin is set to come alive once again for one of Clare's best loved community celebrations. The Festival of Finn is back for its 26th year. Very impressive, bringing with it a packed programme of music, art, drama, workshops and plenty of family fun, from the famous stone throwing championships to the ever-colourful fancy dress parade as well. So to tell us more about what's in store, I'm joined by Edel English, who's part of the organising team. Good morning to you, Edel.
Good morning.
And thanks for being with us. So for anyone unfamiliar with the Festival of Finn, what is it all about?
Well, it's a very family-orientated festival, so there's everything from, craft workshops for the slightly older kids. We've got the Lambert family coming down with a puppet show on the Saturday morning for the younger kids. The Lark at the Lake happens every year on the Monday, weather permitting, so we're keeping our fingers crossed that this beautiful weather keeps
long
going.
May it continue.
Yes, so we need good weather for Sunday and Monday, basically. The rest of the weekend we can kind of adapt and go indoors, but for the 25th annual stone throwing competition, and it is the world stone throwing competition, we can call it that because we are the only one, and we have had winners from all over the world.
That must be a big selling point, to have cornered the market on a particular aspect.
On stone throwing. I think a bit like the cheese rolling over in England. It's like nobody else wants to do it. Now we have had to kind of adapt over the years. It used to, back in the day, it was actually quite dangerous. So it was a bottle on a stick, like a glass bottle, with people that maybe were slightly inebriated throwing stones at it.
Coordination proves to be problematic at that point.
It can do, but as the years have gone on, we've gradually lost the pubs that used to do it in the back garden. So Campbell's, where it started, and then Bofi Quinn's obviously closed. So we've had to adapt and move to the municipal car park on Fair Lane, and we now use a plastic bottle on a stand. So instead of having to break the glass bottle, which wouldn't really be good in a car park, you have to knock the plastic bottle off the stand instead to get through to the final round. And that goes on between 4 and 7 on the Sunday. It is over 18s for obvious reasons. And then in the corner we have a Hang Tough competition that runs simultaneously for the children. So we have young adults, boys and girls, and then we have an adult and male and female as well in the Hang Tough. And they are perpetual cups. They come back every year, so they have all the names of all the people from all over the world that have won it. And then on the Monday, we have a parade through the village in the morning. And then we go to the Lark at the Lake, which is what we need the weather permitting for. We're very lucky. We have beautiful scenery around Corofin and a lot of beautiful lakes. So we go up to the Inchiquin Lake just outside the village. And there's all sorts, horseshoe throwing, there's games for the kids, there's a dog show with not necessarily your standard dog show. We do have rounds like the person who looks most like their dog, and it's very rare.
There's more of those kind of people than you think.
It's very rare that anybody goes home without a medal from the dog show. It's it's a very community dog show, shall we say? Okay,
so tons and tons happening, and good to hear the health and safety aspect of the stone throwing championships has improved. But I mean, look, it's a hugely popular competition regardless. We're also joined by another member of the organising team, Gerry Kennedy. Gerry, the festival itself, it's the 26th year of it. How did this all kick off? Who hit upon the concept of a festival of Finn?
I suppose the original festival, Alan, goes back over 40 years. It actually started back in the early 80s, about 83, 84, when a group of young people that I happened to be in charge of at the time, we kind of came up with the idea that we'd actually attempt a festival in Corofin, because you had a lot of festivals going on, like the Darren Girl from Clare Festival and Mintown Malby and things like that, So we actually organised a 10-day festival at the time. But towards the end of the 90s, it kind of died away, but was revived again then with the gathering in 2013. So
10 days, that's...
Yeah, it was massive.
You'd be wrecked by the end of that.
Oh, tell me about it. We had a bit more energy, but we still haven't got since, so we started back again, and so we have a very full programme this year now, and we have a lot more music than we had maybe in previous ones as well. On Friday evening we have live music in the village, in the street at 6 o'clock. A nice band from Limerick, Just Willem and Michelle, are playing. Of course, we have our social dance on Saturday night with Peter Burke, and with someone you're very familiar with here, Mike Gardner. We have Mike Gardner's band playing live in Mike Hogan's bar on Saturday evening, and part of the Lark at the Lake. Then we have our local entertainers, Robbie Kearson, Bernie O'Shea, playing at the Lark at the Lake. And I suppose something that Edel, I don't know whether she mentioned it or not, is all the proceeds from the Hang Tough and the Stone Throwing go towards the Christmas Lights Fund in the village, which is something we like the summer is assisting the Christmas period as well by raising some funds for the Christmas lights,
Okay, so I suppose one thing that strikes me about the festival is it's kind of a mixture of tradition and new elements as well. Like you mentioned, the stone throwing and the hang tough and all that. But then I suppose each year you're always trying to come up with little tweaks just so there's a kind of freshness to it.
Yeah, and we always have a lot of tourists in Corofin, especially at the bank holiday weekend. So we have the walks that we do every year in the Burn and over by Clifton House, and of the beautiful scenery. But this year we have 2 nostalgia walks in the village. So and the village has changed so much, even since I used to live there as a kid. And Gerry's been there pretty much all the time. So Gerry and a couple of the others who have been in the village for many years are doing a couple of walks through the village, and it's very much kind of a nostalgia walk of who used to be where, the characters of the village, like our James Tierney, who built the submarine that got on RT and sunk in the lake.
Not very good at building submarines then.
And he built a boat as well, didn't he? It was called it Amma, all my own work.
James was a great inventor, and a great character. But the village has changed a lot, like over the years since I was a kid, and I suppose something we just thought that a lot of the people who are new to the area mightn't know about, and we have it broken into 2 short walks. Well, one from the inner side of the village up to the hall, and on the Monday we do one from the grotto up to Church Street as well, so just something different, So there's as you said, there's a great mix. We have the Common Star obviously opened the festival on the Thursday night, and they have a great opening this week with the Davern family from the Carconnell Stone Fort, and you'll probably be hearing more about that. I think Declan is calling to you, I think, tomorrow. So we mix it in, a bit of craft work and lots of stuff for the kids, the frisbee throwing and all that business, and the table quiz on the Saturday night is usually very good as well. We have been raising money for various charities over the last number of years through that, and we generally get a packed house. If people come late, they don't get a table, so we're advising people to come on time, The other thing that I'd really like to mention is, of course, we have our Dramatic Society have reached the All-Ireland finals and
performing with
doing great stuff, and they're doing their play in Corofin in the hall on Sunday night, and it'll be one of the final opportunities for people to give them a good send-off to the All-Irelands in Athlone, And there's a lovely school concert on the Monday with the Came traditional school, who do sean-nós dancing and music and all that, and that's on Monday evening after the Lark at the Lake. So very full, like there's hardly any gap in the programme at all this year.
We had to make the print smaller this year to fit them all in. But there's we like to keep it really family. There is some adult only entertainment like the pub quiz and the stone throwing and stuff like that. But then like on Saturday morning for the younger kids, the Lambert family puppets are on in the hall. But then for the 12 pluses, we've a couple of local women who run craft and they're free. Their craft shows or classes are free. So we've one on Saturday and one on Sunday afternoon. Visible mending, which we thought was a misprint when we saw it. But if you were around in the 70s, which you probably weren't, Alan, people used to put patches on their jeans just for the sake of it. It was a trend.
I know. My mother was a big fan of the Bay City Rollers, so I'm very familiar.
So this is visible mending is exactly that. It is, basically upcycling old clothes, very much in keeping with the whole eco
and look, everything comes back into fashion. I can remember like flares big in the 70s, wore them in the late 90s, so I'm sure that the patches are going to make their way back into popular fashion as well.
Well, especially after our festival, the definitely.
Sure. Trendsetters out there in Corofin.
And then on Sunday they're doing paper making, which is actually making the paper that you would then use for craft cards and things like that. So, and both of those are free. And as much as we can, we try to keep it cost effective because, cost of living and all that, there's a huge amount of free items on the agenda. A lot of the music, we don't charge for the music in the pubs or the tween trad session and things like that. So, as much as we can, we try to keep it in the family budget as well.
Gerard, how many of you are on the organising committee? Because there's so much happening. There must be many hands making light work here and doing it well out from the festival.
Well, we're a very small group, really. There's only about 8 people on a regular basis, I'd say, that we have. Obviously, for various events during the festival, people come in to help as stewards and maybe help to run some of the competitions and stuff like that, and that's a big help, But we have... But we have been planning since probably January, and a lot of the events are kind of repeat events, that have proved themselves over the years. So it's just that you try and add a little bit of a new twist to every year and get a few new things in. And the community really enjoyed, I mean, the Lark at the Lake on the Monday, if you get a fine day, is probably the biggest community event of the year, and because it brings the families out, it brings every member of the family out. If it's a nice fine day, they can come and have a picnic and throw down the blanket and enjoy a bit of music and get up and do a bit of dancing and bring their dog, as Edel says, and stuff like that, and loads for the kids happening as well. So it's great, really, and we have our own Festival of Finn t-shirts, and if anyone wants to buy those. We also run a fundraising raffle throughout the festival. Marion looks after that for us, and we finish up on the Monday night then, and we have a session in Mike Hogan's, and we do the draw and just wrap the whole thing up and see that everything... Congratulate ourselves, I suppose, and everything going well. And I have to say that this year we're delighted that our festival has been shortlisted in the Best of Clare Awards here at Clare FM.
It has indeed, and sure, no better time to mention that in the Best Festival category, where you're up against Doolin Folk Festival, Scariff Harbour Festival, Willie Clancy and Wings Festival. To vote, log on now to clare.fm. Just get that in there as well.
All great festivals, but we're encouraging people to give their vote to the Festival of Finn in Corofin.
Start the campaign here.
We won't diss the competition, but we still want to win.
Well, look, I'm sure it'll all go very, very well. Hopefully the weather plays ball too. Certainly promising at the moment, so hopefully that will continue.
And just like to thank maybe the people who have sponsored various events for us as well. They've been very kind, and I wouldn't like to try and mention them by name, but we're delighted we seem to be getting a few more sponsors on board every year as well, and the advertisers.
And it allows us to do the free events, that the local businesses are behind us and they do sponsor us and they sponsor events, and it means that we can put on free items for the kids and make sure that it's just not costing that much for a family to come and have a really good day or a really good few days in Corofin over the weekend.
And I suppose the local business doing that, it's great. There's community support there to help support a local event, but I guess it's beneficial as well, because I'm sure all the locals of Corofin are out. You've probably got people coming in from elsewhere for the festival, and that's got to be good for the local economy too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's our hostel and campsite is, I'd say, booked out for the weekend, which it always is. We're very lucky we have one right in the middle of the village. So yeah, it's not most of those caravan parks are so far out of a town, but this one is right in the middle of the village. So yeah, they have ringside seats to the stone throwing.
Absolutely, yeah.
A big selling point. Well, look, hopefully it all goes well, and my thanks to both of you for coming in. Gerry Kennedy and Edel English, thank you.
Thanks
for joining us and
Thanks
fill us in on the Festival of Finn.